It's time once again for another episode of Georgia Business Radio. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now here's your host, Rich Casanova.
Oh man, Rich Casanova's in the studio. That's pretty exciting. I'm about as jazzed as my mom. All right, so we're excited to have a spotlight guest in our studio this afternoon on Georgia Business Radio, Krisztina Bell. She is is Chris. You got an extra Z in there, or an S and a Z? Is that correct?
Yes.
So it's actually.
It's Krisztina, but you can pronounce Z if you want. My mother's Hungarian, so I got to kind of stuck with that.
I like
but
that.
Everybody remembers it.
Yeah, big time.
I love.
Krisztina.
Yeah.
So she's the founder and owner of No Vacancy Home Staging. You got to love that. If you have a home, you don't want it to be vacant, whether you're selling or renting it or whatever stage it's at in the process of real estate. 14 years in the real estate industry. That's a
long time.
That's a long time. I was going to try to say a nice way to say that, but the reality is, I mean, I lived in California. I don't know what it is in Georgia here, but at one point, I think 1 in 5 people had a real estate license in the state of California. I don't know what the numbers are here, but you can get a license. It's different to be in the industry and working the industry as a professional, right?
Yeah. You can get a license here. They're tough to get in Florida, actually.
Yeah,
it's
really?
pretty hardcore. There's a lot of law in Florida.
But I mean, I think a lot of people just figure that's a good idea, and it's not a bad idea to have that license on the occasion that may happen. But you're actually full-time employed, working the industry. This wasn't just a casual dip your toe in the water, right? Yeah.
No, actually, I used to be in the print and graphic design business,
Okay.
and then got into real estate in 2003. And as you can see, I mean, business is booming. Atlanta, everywhere you drive, there's construction going on, especially right now with the apartments, communities, and live, work, play type communities are really big right now.
Big time.
Yeah.
I just moved from one live, work, play to another live, work, play, and I'm still trying to work out the play. It's mostly living and working right now, but that's another topic for life balance. But those 14 years, like you said, and then now fast forward 12 years in the home staging business.
Yes. Yeah.
So what happened at that 2-year mark? You saw kind of the writing on the wall, or that was still a recent phenomenon, or most people weren't aware of it 12 years ago, give or take.
Yeah, staging's been around actually for a really long time, believe it or not, but it's now really hitting the mainstream.
Yeah.
And back when I started, it was just kind of people had heard about it and using it as a marketing tool here and there if they were really a savvy real estate agent.
Right.
And I come from a marketing background.
Okay.
And so, I did about 7 years in the print and graphic design industry before that. Did a lot of work with local organizations, Buckhead Business Association.
Okay,
one.
awesome.
I was the
Shout out to the BBA.
Yes, I was a past president of
really?
Young Bucks.
Oh, Young Bucks. Okay, nice. We just had their breakfast this morning. We did their show in the
Yes.
studio this morning immediately following that. We have a Young Buck now that's taking over as the incoming president for the
Nice.
BBA. So
Very nice.
I don't know if you've been over to the City Club lately. You should stop by and say hi to the folks. We got some big things. We got our luncheon coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's great to see the organization still going strong, and I did a lot. I played my part. Okay,
right.
Thank you very much. So now I have to focus on my business here, and it's nice to see that the real estate industry has come back as well during that tough time that we had, and it's full force. We're still a little low on inventory right now, but it's going to be an interesting year. Last year, everybody did very well. I think it was everybody's best year ever, is what I heard from real estate agents.
Nice.
So it's great to see.
I want to rewind back to your bio in a second, but you talked about those years in real estate. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it still about an 8-year cycle where things are on the boom or bust, or is it stretched out, or is it not as predictable as it used to be? Because during those 14 years, you saw some dips.
Yeah, there's been dips, and that's just the real estate market in general. My husband comes from a corporate background, so he likes it when the line is even keel, and he's like, God, this industry is so crazy. It goes up and then it goes down, and you can't. It's so hard to predict. I mean, you almost have to really just kind of try to keep up with the National Association of Realtors surveys, statistics, and all that, because they're trying to keep up with it too, and take surveys from what's going on nationwide as a whole. So it is very challenging, and Atlanta's still I think Atlanta's still a growing city. There's the entertainment industry. I was talking
7.1 billion.
Yeah,
TV and film.
that's making a huge difference. These corporate, companies like Porsche and Mercedes-Benz, all
North
of them
America.
are putting corporate headquarters
Amazon,
here.
do you have some inside scoop on Amazon?
I don't
Is that a
know.
done deal? Let's make that happen today. Yeah.
I know.
Can you call someone? Can you
I wish I
get Jeff?
could.
We got some folks in the studio. Can you get Jeff Bezos on the line? Let's do that.
Amazon, that would be huge.
I mean,
huge for
not to get too
Atlanta.
off topic, but since I
Huge.
brought it up,
That's okay.
But again, am I missing something here? But every statistic I've heard is 50,000 employees would be at their second, national headquarters outside of Seattle, right? So 50,000. We're talking. We know of metropolitan Atlanta, but there's not too many cities within all of Metro Atlanta that's 50. I mean, look at all of Cobb County. 50,000. That's an entire city. The infrastructure for that, yeah. It's more than Delta or Home Depot as far as based here, operating actually employees based in this city, right? Obviously, Delta and all those Fortune 500 had more than 50,000 globally.
That's why I think we're seeing a lot of apartments being built everywhere,
big time.
everywhere you look right now, which is great to see. Because I think they're predicting that more and more companies, and they want more companies, I think, to move to Atlanta.
And I don't want to jinx it, or not as if I have a crystal ball, but
that's okay.
when that happens, not if, but when Amazon lands in Atlanta, I mean, we're going to probably see a boom for a decade or more, right? Because those people transitioning initially from apartments will then transition to homes and so forth and so on. Right?
And we need more inventory. I hope this year that more inventory does come on the market. Again, the numbers are still low. They were low last year. Even though home staging, we're busy. Real estate agents are selling, but things are selling much faster in the $300,000 to $500,000 range. Is what's going to be selling quicker, because that's easy for people to come up with that money. But the $700,000 to $1 million, it's going to take a little bit longer. But if those corporate people from Amazon are coming in, those could
shout
be
out
selling.
Amazon, come on, make it happen.
Those could be selling soon. You never know.
And those numbers are account for the 300 homes that I bought last year. No, that was the 300 times I went to Home Depot. That's another stat. So let's rewind for a second. We're talking to Krisztina Bell. She's the founder and owner of No Vacancy Home Staging. It's Rich Casanova here on the Georgia Business Radio Show from our beautiful, misty, foggy Seattle view from our Buckhead studios right now. I love this. People complain. I love Atlanta, and we get all four seasons.
Yeah, you do. You get all 4 seasons.
You're talking about real estate in Florida. I was originally born in Miami, raised in Florida. Comedian
Same here. I was raised in Florida, too.
Yeah.
I'm a Florida native.
I heard a great line a comedian said one time. He says, why do they sell all-season radials in Florida? There's only one season. So
nice.
We love the Floridians.
Yes.
So let's, before we get into our topics, we're going to be talking about your backstory. We hit on a few of those points, the services, what's your value proposition to the market. We're going to be talking about industry trends. I want to also hear what's next for you, right? It's on the horizon.
Okay.
But let's, for the listeners that are just kind of tuning in, again, Krisztina, she's not only what we mentioned as far as the founder for No Vacancy Home Staging, but she's been featured on HGTV's House Hunters. I'm kind of addicted to that show. It never gets old. You're always wondering which house are they going to pick, right? They put together some secret sauce there. Also on the Property Brothers. So I don't know if you can kind of tell us some scoop behind the scenes. Everybody's always intrigued by that.
Mm-hmm.
Also been featured in New York Times, Dallas Morning News, San Francisco Chronicle, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Fox News, CNBC, and now you've arrived, Pro Business Channel. We don't drop our microphones because we can't pay for the broken ones. Do we have time to talk about HGTV? Right, because in real estate, that's kind of the holy grail if you're on there, right?
And home staging has really been brought to the forefront over the last probably 8 years or more. HGTV shows have started to use actually home staging companies too now. Like Flip or Flop Fort Worth is using a friend of mine who has a staging company out there in Texas, and they're using them for every show, and the Property Brothers do too as well. Ironically,
now we have a new reality show for Atlanta, right?
Yeah. HGTV, there's so many of them. There's actually a lot of HGTV people that live here in Atlanta, and they do.
Well, they're right up our road in Knoxville, right?
Yeah. And I've actually personally interviewed some of them on another radio show.
Yeah, I heard about that too. You're the former co-host of Atlanta's radio show.
That was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we're ready to reboot that in the studio whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Okay.
Done deal. You heard it live. Yeah. We'll do the handshake later, but
Sure. So the Property Bros was fun to work with. Again, they're serious. I mean, these people come in, they have a design team. They actually borrowed some decor from us in the beginning because they were doing a bunch of shows. a couple years ago, and they ended up, working with some other vendors as well. They did 13 episodes here in Atlanta.
Really?
And some of them were near our warehouse. It was, again, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't know anybody here. I mean, they had their design team coming in, and they were putting them up in studio apartments down in Midtown and driving these little bitty cars around, and they were literally here for a year. And the Property Brothers were actually renting a house from a friend of a friend in Virginia Highlands, but they were hardly ever there. I mean, they literally were going back and forth between Atlanta and Canada because that's where they're based.
That sounds crazy.
Out of Canada. So that was the phone call I got was, by the way, we're going to be doing some shows. We need somebody to help with decor for the show. Can we borrow some things from you? And I'm like, how did you get my name and number?
First you think you're being punked or whatever. Like, is this real?
Well, but then, I have really dedicated real estate agents who refer me a lot. And somebody from a Coldwell Banker office, I still to this day do not know who it is, referred my business to them. And I was very appreciative of it.
Time.
It was a good experience.
What puts you and your brand on the map, especially in that sandbox,
right? It was different. I learned a little bit about the TV, industry and how they stage for TV, because that's completely different than just, for taking photographs and just in person. So it was really great to kind of learn a little bit of that. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because you mentioned you were also featured on CNBC. I'm obsessed with the Shark Tank and Marcus Lemonis, the Prophet. And I was listening to
I
Robert.
love the Prophet.
Yeah, right.
It's a great show.
I was listening to a bunch of interviews with those guys, and I think it was Robert Herjavec was talking about they knock out 17 episodes, pretty much almost not completely back to back.
Wow.
But it's for the whole year. But anyway, let's get back to real estate here.
I know. You and I could talk a lot about other stuff.
Yeah, because if we have time, I'm kind of intrigued by the behind the scenes and the Property Brothers. But let's focus on what's happening right now. So I like your philosophy of this golden rule of keeping it simple. I once heard somebody say that they said to elevate. How did it go? Simplify your life to elevate purpose. I think we get so kind of bogged down by technology, by all the gizmos and gadgets and clutter that we get in our life and noise. And they said, simplify life to elevate purpose, right? So this idea of keeping it simple, it's like we don't need to make things as complicated as a lot of people do, right?
You don't, and that's actually, you're touching on a trend because, if you think about it right now, there's more and more millennials. You got millennials out looking to buy,
right?
But you've also got the older, seniors that are looking too. But it's the millennials right now that are kind of creating this trend now that they want flexibility.
Right,
I mean, they want it simple, but they want even just when they go and look at houses or even at apartment communities, they want the rooms to be simple, flexible. Can they use it for other purposes type of thing? They want it.
Like
they
Airbnb.
don't want a lot of stuff. They want to personalize it. They want to make it easy and, keeping it clean, keeping it simple, and not a lot. It's very minimal. That's the type of staging that the agents want right now too, especially in these luxury homes.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how things have changed over the past couple of years very quickly, especially in the real estate and home staging industry. People are wanting to be more involved as well.
Yeah.
They want to pick their own furniture. They want to pick colors. I mean, I've been to some of these new apartment communities. I don't know if you all have seen the new ones. I mean, it's like you get to pick out your color cabinetry. They've got all this cool flooring going on, and the rooms are all teched out, so it's just amazing.
Well, it's kind of a spillover to social media because everything is now very personalized. Even our content, our message is it's content on demand. Right, so if you're not in real estate, if this is not really in your wheelhouse, it's not going to resonate, right? So we want to focus on specific topic to a targeted audience. But talking about millennials and baby boomers, what happened to Gen X though? You never even hear about Gen Xers anymore.
Well,
did they move out of the country or what? What happened to these guys? Right.
Right. There's still some around, and it's funny because I got one phone call yesterday asking about an apartment community. And their target market is millennials. And then I get another phone call that says, we have these 4 spec, townhouses left, but this target market is for 40-year-olds with a child or, a small family kind of thing. I'm like, whoa, 2 extreme areas that are completely different parts of town, too.
Yeah.
So even the target markets are definitely, there's so many now, and you have to really customize, and that's one thing that we're doing.
And I think not only the younger generation, but I think it's somewhat of a trend, if you will, or a phenomenon that people are. I see a lot of adoption of a millennial. How do you say that? Minimalistic, or there's actually a podcast about these guys, and they're obsessed with minimalizing their entire life. And I know this other couple, this friend of mine, and if someone gives them a gift or they buy a shirt, they have to get rid of the other piece of clothing. I mean, they're so kind of a little bit obsessed with it. But
okay,
yeah. So we talked a little bit about your story and what makes you unique in terms of your services, because I'm guessing you're not the only company that provides staging.
No,
so what is your USP, unique selling proposition, if you will?
95% of our business is basically dealing with vacant properties that are listed for sale.
Oh, okay.
But lately, we have, started working more with builders. And, again, these builders, you see a lot of construction going on right now, of course, everywhere. But then there's maybe one or two houses that still just quite haven't sold yet, and they got to finish selling out the community. And so that's where we can kind of come in and help with that, because it's a vacant house still sitting there. They've sold maybe the other floor plans, and maybe the last two houses are unique floor plans that just need to be staged so people can visualize it. We're getting quite a bit of that because these builders want to get it off the books.
Oh, big time,
that's what they're trying to do. And then to get literally a call the other day from a girl who's managing these apartment communities. Actually, they're near College Park area.
Okay.
So the Beltline is definitely making some headway, because now all of a sudden we're getting calls for the west part of Atlanta now to start staging. East Atlanta seems to be still continuing to grow, lots of construction, but now it's starting to creep over to the west part of Atlanta, west side of Atlanta too, which.
Well, I just recently moved from Sandy Springs perimeter at a high rise over to now I'm at about 2 miles from the studio here in Buckhead.
Yep.
And in all that research, I was trying to find a property that was on the Beltline. I don't know why. I've never even been to the Beltline. But I used to buzz. I'm like, can I get on the Beltline? I don't know why, but it just sounded cool. But it was a little further out.
Yeah.
But that whole area you talked about, College Park, and this airport city is going to be it's going to have a footprint unlike any other in the country. I mean, they're building out, it used to be back in the day, nobody wanted to live where the planes were flying over you, right?
Right.
But now the mobile society, the busiest airport in the world, they're developing master plans for I mean, on a scale we can't.
There's a really good private school near the edge of the airport too that people literally are moving.
But this is a decade or so out, but we went to a few meetings for the Airport Chamber of Commerce, and it's just exploding. And so industry trends, what's hot, what's not? That's our segment. We just made it this segment. By the way, let me do a quick plug. We're listening to the Georgia Business Radio Show. We're here in our Buckhead studio on the Pro Business Channel studios, as well as syndicated 16, 18 platforms, including iTunes, Google Play. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on social media right now. I believe we're on YouTube and Twitter. But it's just you and me having a conversation, right? Yeah. Let's forget the 500,000 downloads and yada, yada. But meanwhile, so trends. So what's hot, what's not?
Well, what's hot right now, you're seeing a lot of the kind of royal colors out there. Sherwin-Williams announced its color of the year along the lines of a teal. And then Pantone
teal,
color.
That sounds kind of 80s or something,
well,
right?
I mean, sometimes they come right back around again. It goes out, then it comes back again. Yeah. That's fashion too. So, and then
that's why I didn't understand that. Yeah, fashion.
So, and Pantone's color of the year is ultraviolet.
Pantone? What?
Pantone. Well, Pantone is like a color coding company.
Oh, company.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So their color of the year is ultraviolet. So we're seeing a little bit more of the colors coming back, and then there's pastels as well. I know you're writing all this down, taking notes.
Well, I'm thinking, what about Bulldog Red? I think that's next year, right?
No.
Yeah, I did.
Exactly.
I get started on that. Yeah, I was telling somebody, hey, did you catch the Georgia game? I'm like, no, actually, it was the Alabama game. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll talk sports. We'll talk politics and religion if we have time, but let's stay on industry trends right now. So
neutrals are what we stage with all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we always want to go middle of the road. Neutral colors. Furniture needs to be transitional. But right now, they're wanting to maybe mix it up. What we're seeing is that there were set rules to stage a home, and now it's been 10 years or more. Well, it's been more than 10 years now that finally home staging is seen as a mainstream. Like, even sellers right now are going online and they're looking up home staging Atlanta. They never did before because they didn't even know about it. Now they're hearing about it. They see it on HGTV. They're calling us about it. And so, this is kind of what we're catering to right now is customizing more. I'm not saying you got to stage the house contemporary because it's a contemporary. Yeah. You really want to stay middle of the road because you're always trying to broaden your buyer market, with home staging, especially in the real estate industry, because you don't know what person's going to walk through the house. You don't want to make them feel like they have to buy that furniture to live there either.
Let me ask you a dumb question, and I'm good at this. How about, would it make sense to stage different parts of the home?
We focus on the main living areas of the house.
But you do like a bedroom, a kitchen, and so forth. But could you stage like 2 different bedrooms, completely different styles, so they can kind of see, or would that be kind of a train wreck? Or
you want to keep it somewhat consistency. Yeah, okay. The consistency is better.
You mentioned internet. I mean, well, we're going to give a plug at the end of the show. But go ahead and how would people let people know now? How would they get in touch with you? What's a website, or what's your best point of contact to reach out to you?
It's No Vacancy Home Staging, and our website is novacancy-atl.com. Right. And we just recreated the website 6 months ago or more, and it's very informational. We actually I focused on that website so that real estate agents can use it as a marketing tool during their presentations. Okay. But the nice thing sellers like about it is they actually can go on there and find paint color suggestions. Okay, yeah. Yeah, they love that.
For the color challenge, yeah, because I have no idea. I knew blue and black was our colors. That's about it. That's about as far as I got in the studio here. Yeah. Maybe we should have you do a makeover of our studio. We're staging.
Okay,
yeah.
We could do that.
Actually, we're working on. I'm a little tough. We're working on it. Actually, I got to tell you off the air because it's not official. Yeah. But we need to talk to you about staging another studio situation, but we'll I almost
sounds good.
I almost gave out a scoop that I was not allowed to. Okay, so now let's talk about your business model. Our middle name is Business Pro Business Channel. Let's delve a little bit into your business model. I mean, what kind of drives your revenue without giving away too many trade secrets? But so correct me if I'm wrong or fill in the blanks. So a real estate company. Contractors or developers would hire you, contract you to come in, as well as individuals, and then they pay you for that period of time that the home is staged. And are there other revenue stages? Are you still in the real estate selling homes, Sandbox?
I keep my real estate license active, which I think is always good.
I keep my driver's license active.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case.
Yeah. But I haven't really done much. If I might refer somebody, but it's very rare. Yeah. We've been focusing literally from 2005 on. I've been focusing on this business, and actually, my husband and I run the business together. So, and he's not here. Yeah. He's actually manning the show. He did do the corporate gig, but he saw that my business was doing really well.
He saw the money.
Yes, exactly.
And he was okay with the real estate being fluctuating or whatever.
He had to get used to that. Yes, he had to adopt to that lifestyle. But so pretty much 95% of my business, I'll say it again, comes from real estate agents. I mean, I've made relationships with them. I've grown with them. They all started out, one-man show, giving me condos. Now they're, partner teams. Their husbands have joined them, or the wife has joined them now as a team. They're giving me $1 million homes now.
Wow,
so, I mean, nice. I've grown up with them, and they've brought my business right along with them, too, which has helped us grow this past year, because now we can offer 2 packages of staging that we do for homes under $500,000, and then we have a nice luxury package, we call it, for over $500,000 homes.
Okay, what about? And we were going. I thought you were going. I want to bring back in a topic because you mentioned that range of over and under. Yeah. And earlier we were talking about millennials and what's trending. And I was going to jump in. I thought you were going to announce this phenomenon of tiny homes.
Tiny homes.
I almost feel like Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal with tiny homes? I mean, seriously, no offense, but it's about the size of this table, and it's on wheels. And I'm not offending. I don't think the tiny house industry is going to call me. Although we've had ambassadors or brand advocate for tiny homes. We've had builders in here, so I'm kind of fascinated with it. So jokingly, I say, for less money, you could own a double wide trailer on wheels, right? It's the same thing. It's bigger spaces, longer real estate. But you say, hey, I just got a trailer. I'm like, but it's a whole different thing to say. It's all marketing and perception. I'm in a tiny house. Oh, everybody, can I come over and see it? Nobody wants to come over and see my double wide, right? But,
exactly.
I mean, what am I missing here? I feel like that Seinfeld. What's the deal with tiny houses? Yeah.
I don't know much about the tiny houses thing.
You're not staging those.
No, we're not really staging those right now. We're trying to stage the inventory that's out there to get it moving along, of course, which is the benefit of home staging.
Yeah, absolutely.
In general.
I mean, a tiny house, you can stage that with one trip to IKEA and you're done.
Exactly.
In your BMW, what's that little mini car? Yeah, the BMW Mini. Okay, so back to business model. So what about, obviously you mentioned through real estate, what about developers or builders?
Well, we do work with builders. You know, like I said, we were talking about with spec homes, the homes that maybe they are trying to finish off and sell out in the community. Okay. You know, we've seen that business pick up for sure, and now we're starting to get some referrals of that because now, you know, these agents are teams that may represent builders too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like I live in the Brookhaven area, so I do work with some of the top agents that live in Brookhaven or near Brookhaven, and they're working with, you know, those builders that are building in the area on both sides of the MARTA track, you know, even behind Oglethorpe area.
Well, what I like is the delineation that you're not, you know, pursuing real estate. You got enough on your plate with the vacancy home staging. And as a realtor, I think they would appreciate that you're not creating a competition. It's a conflict of interest, right? Yeah. So smart on you. So we got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about what's next for you and your business expansion. You have, 5 or how many employees, or how many is you and your husband have contractors or independent agents?
Yeah, so we have a team of stagers. Actually, we're now up to 6 professional home stagers now. Nice. And then, of course, I have a moving crew. Yeah. My husband takes care of the logistics, the financing, and the moving crew while I manage the home stagers. And they all come from interior design, some even from set design or furniture stylist background. It's been I'm particular, so we try to cover a lot of territory too in Atlanta. They live all over. I got them coming in Buckhead, girl down in Decatur area, and then all my other girls kind of go in between.
Cartersville.
We can go outside Atlanta. We've gone 30 or 40 miles.
Oh, really?
Some of these model homes are not exactly in town.
Yeah. And that's kind of a trend as well, you know. But I did want to bring this up before we run out of time. What about this question? What about any commercial? Have you ever been approached or opportunities to do a commercial kind of staging or?
It's very rare, but actually the other day I got a call from somebody who's tried to sell a children's like daycare community building, and she was trying to see if maybe staging.
Because you don't think about that. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but you don't think about that necessarily from a business perspective when you're selling your footprint and that real estate or that that location. You've been there for so long, just like a house, and you probably need somebody to come in and kind of get rid of the clutter and make it sellable. Right?
Well, see, that's where our other product that we offer, which you'll be fascinated. That'll be
this
another
sounds like
show.
a teaser. Oh, I knew it. You were going to
yes,
go. As a media pro,
staging.
Did you notice that? Yeah.
Yes, we call it virtual staging, and that's what I suggested to her to do.
Yeah.
It's called Virtually Staging Properties is the company that we have, and we can digitally place furniture decor in the photos of any vacant room that you send
And there's
us.
a lot of advantages. There's a little bit of downside, but the big advantages is the scalability of that, the less cost and so forth. But it doesn't really, you can't really match that. I can touch and see it and walk into it.
True, but it does help for online photos
Yeah.
and driving buyer traffic to an otherwise vacant listing.
Okay, so final 2 questions. Social Security number.
Yeah.
I know. Is what about what's next and how to, again, people get in touch with you?
What's next for us? We're just ready for the season. We hope it's going to be another repeat or more. I'd like to see inventory go up a little bit more. We've invested a lot in these new packages for the higher end homes.
Okay.
So we're ready to stage more and more of those. We'd like to and work more with builders. And I'm teaching CE classes, so I teach
that.
Continuing education class to realtors. I'm trying to do more of those. People are signing up. I got one this weekend at our warehouse space.
Nice.
They like to come and check it out and see that we're real. And they like to sit in the decor room and look around, so they get a little bit of a taste of our home staging life.
Right.
Again, just looking forward to another prosperous 2018 because it was really good last year.
Here, yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's keep the good. Let's keep the
momentum going.
So I guess technically we're out of time right now, but
where they can reach us at, maybe.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
at novacancy-atl.com.
Yep.
And that's 404-218-7030. And you can reach me, Krisztina Bell, with No Vacancy Home Staging.
Perfect. All right. Well, Krisztina, it was a pleasure having you here on the Pro Business Channel studios for the Georgia Business Radio Show.
Thank you for having me.
And we do have a teaser. So next time, it looks like we might need to have you back because we want to hear an update about the virtual play there. And also, we never got to behind the scenes of the Property Brothers and House Hunters. So we need to hear about that. So again, look forward to it. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks.
And we'll see you on the internet.
Sounds good.
All right.
Mr. Michael Moore.
Thank you again for joining Rich Casanova and our guests on the Pro Business Channel. Use the social media links here to share today's show and stay tuned for the next episode of Georgia Business Radio.